Hello, welcome to Aunt Lainey's Kitchen. We're doing a waffle night tonight because, well, I don't have a lot of energy because I have changed my schedule. So before I always got up at like 5 a.m. or whatever, but then I would just kind of like, scroll social media or stare at the ceiling, like whatever. And so I was like, one of the things, I need to be a little bit more productive at 5 a.m. And so instead of doing my workout at like 6:15, 6:30, I'm like, no, we're doing it at 5:15. So I've been doing that for the past couple of weeks because I started this kind of before the new year hit. And yeah, I'm feeling it, but I'm feeling it in a good way. So because right around this time, I'm like, okay, probably should be thinking about going to bed the next couple hours. But that's totally fine. I'm getting the things done that I need to get done. I'm making a lot of progress on my goals. So that's really important. So I'm glad to be doing that. So I was like, you know what? I've got to make a compromise here. I had this big list of things because I've made pot stickers recently, and then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna use, because I have the egg roll thing wraps. I'm like, I'm gonna do kind of like these flat wraps with because I got some ground turkey. I put some 5 Chinese spice in there, and I also had a little toasted sesame oil, like all the things, ginger, lemon juice, all of that. It tastes really, really good. I actually had them for dinner. But then I thought, you know what? I am too tired to have to pay attention to anything except for using a waffle mix and adding some things to said waffle mix and then putting them in Big Bertha. That's all I got tonight. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. Sometimes it bees like that. So without further ado, I'm going to start making the waffle. I'm going to start mixing the waffle. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do 2 cups because these waffles are going to last me. It's Tuesday, so I kind of want to have these waffles last at least until Saturday. So I'm going to do 2 cups here, 2 cups of the mix here. So it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot for Big Bertha, but I think Big Bertha can handle it. And then whatever I don't, I probably make about, I think this is probably going to make about 8, but who knows? We'll see. Depends on, what Big Bertha does to said waffles, because sometimes I'll think, oh my gosh, Big Bertha, this is going to take a lot, and then it only makes like 4 pancakes. So again, we'll just have to see what happens. Okay, so that is there, and then I'm going to come, because I want these to be a little thicker. So I'm going to do, I've got my water. I am going to do probably like 1.5 cups and see what happens here. Okay, I got my 1.5 cups. I'm coming back into the frame. I forgot to do the water. I knew I forgot to do something. Okay, well this looks like, with this 1.5 cups, it's going to be like these are going to be on the thinner side. So hang on, which is, again, that's fine. They won't be too thin. Okay, so I just kind of want to get that in there because sometimes if they get too clumpy, then that part doesn't cook, and then I taste like it tastes like flour. I'm like, what is this flour in here? Okay, so this is my Mexican vanilla. I am going to use a teaspoon. Now, you don't, listen, to make waffles, use what you got, okay? If you don't have this, and you don't have, what do you call it? You don't have vanilla, and I'm going to use some allspice as well. I'm going to go ahead and see, if I were using like more of an extract, I probably would use just a little bit more. But this sweet vanilla, really, I don't really have to do that. So this is about, I would say this is about 3/4 of a teaspoon that I'm putting in here of the allspice. Now listen, you can go to town on this. You can do as much as you want. I try to just kind of do 2 extra elements here because I still have to, wait, hang on. This didn't get all the way in there. Okay, there we go. Because I still have to add in the cranberry. Now, because this cranberry, what I did, I created, so I didn't cook them all the way down. I cooked them down enough yesterday, and then this afternoon for lunch, I basically put them in a blender, and I blended this all up. And again, I didn't add sugar this time, so it's gonna have more of a tart taste. I'm gonna actually add like a tablespoon because I don't want it to be, because I'm gonna use this for something else. I got like a mocktail in mind, so we're just gonna do like a tablespoon of this. Because I want the elements of the cranberry, but I don't want it to be all like it's the huge cranberry show. So go ahead and do that. gonna go ahead and put this back on because you know when I don't want spilled cranberries because I will cry over spilled cranberries because sometimes it's hard to get out of countertops. So see here, I'm just gonna move this out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and put this in the refrigerator so I do not forget. If you're just joining me, I'm making waffles. I made them from a mix because you know how I roll here. I used 2 cups of the powder. I put in a cup and a half of the water. So these are going to be, pink is going to be a little bit on the thinner side, but that's okay. I also put in a teaspoon of vanilla, and then I put in like 3/4 a teaspoon of allspice. And as I was saying, you can do these plain. There's no shame in having plain waffles. Everybody has, I always say, a different price point. They also have a different preference. So I'll never judge you for whatever your preference, anything like that is. You just kind of go with what you have on hand. Because as you guys know, I am a pantry cook. I'm a shelf cook. It's basically like whatever I got, that's what I'm cooking. So I'm just gonna stir this a little bit more. Kind of get this down here because I got a lot of cranberry here. And again, it might not all go all the way down. So this is kind of taking on a little bit of the cranberry. It's kind of got like a pinkish kind of tint here, but that's okay. I like that. So the story of these cranberries are, I got them probably like, I think I got them right like maybe a week ago. I would say like about a week ago or so. A little bit over a week, and I was like, oh, I was kind of eating on them, whatever. But I was like, oh my gosh, I have like an emergency here because these are about to go bad. And you know I don't like to waste anything, so I was like, oh my gosh, I got to go ahead and, you know, cook these down so I can start using them. And I'll do like a mocktail. Probably I've got some Fuji apple water, like the sparkling water, so I'll probably put some in there, create like a mocktail. I did a mocktail today with the leftover grapes that I had because some of them had gone bad, but not all of them. So the ones that I could save, I cut them in half. And then I put them in the blender and I threw in some lemon juice and I put in like the grape sparkling water that I had. And then I just kind of blended it up and it was actually really, and I put in some edible flowers. And then I also have this lettuce that I've been growing. I've got like a little herbal garden in here. So some of the lettuce, because I keep forgetting I have it. So I'm like, I got to use this because this is like not going to, this is not going to stay, you know. I'm like, some of it's already kind of like browning a little bit. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to save this. So, okay, now we're going to move this out of the way. Okay, we're going to get Big Bertha ready. Okay, here we go. Okay, now I've got my scoop. Okay, this looks like I need to... Now, if you want to do like a straight mixing, like with the mixer, I do have a mixer thing, but I'm like, I know some people don't use mixers for whatever reason, so I kind of want to be like authentic here. Sometimes I use a mixer, but a lot of times I just use one of these things like right here, and I just kind of get in there. You can use a spoon too, but I just kind of prefer this method here because I just feel like for me, like it's easier for me to get all the lumps out. Okay, so this is really, these are going to be some thinner kind of things. That's okay. Well, you know what? Actually, let's see here. Maybe I'll do like a little bit more. Hang on. Because I was thinking about that. Sometimes the thinner pancakes, what happens is they get kind of like, they get kind of rubbery. Now, I'm eating them anyway. I'll just cut something in half and eat them. But, you know, I have enough here. So let's see here. What do I got? What did I do? Okay, this is like 3/4. Maybe 2/3 in here. So I'm going to do that just to thicken it up a little bit. Yeah, that's probably more like, okay, yeah, let's just go ahead and do that. Let's just do that because I thought about that. And again, if anything ever gets rubbery or something like that, a lot of times you can just cut them into strips or slices or something like that. Turn it into like something that you can dip. So there's, when it comes to pastries, unless you didn't cook something all the way or there's some kind of like thing where the, you know, that maybe the batter has gone bad or something like that, you can salvage just about anything. If you're willing to turn it into a crumble, you're willing to use it as something to dip with. There's really, you know, and again, was talking to one of my friends about this. How come when, you know, during your early days, post-college, whatever, post-high school, and, you know, you're on your own and you're like trying to get everything together, it's like you're so happy to have, like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy to have these broken cookies or whatever. And you get to be older, you're like, ah, these broken cookies are just not where it's at. And I totally get it. You know, there's lots of, you know, life differences and expectations. But I'm trying to kind of like recapture my inner kind of chef that, you know, during they call it the salad days or whatever, like during that time when times were a little bit leaner, I want to recapture that in the sense of like my grocery game was on point. Now, granted, things were a lot cheaper back then, but still, the creativity that I had to have because of the limited finances was unmatched. There's some things now, I'm looking at old notebooks because I'm going through my house and doing that Swedish death cleaning method. I'm going through things and getting rid of things, and like I have old notebooks, and some of them I can't even read the writing in them. So I'm like, you know what? Let's try to see what I can salvage, and then I can go. Okay, so this is kind of like the first batch. If you guys know Big Bertha, sometimes she takes a little bit, you know, to kind of get warmed up, all that stuff. So we're just going to kind of let her wait here because I don't have anything else planned because this is just straight waffle night. Something else to consider when you're doing your waffles, like I'm going to have 4 of these. I'll make 4 of these, and then the rest of them I'm going to freeze. So that's kind of like, you know, I like to have a plan with that because waffles are pretty easy to freeze. I don't keep them frozen for a long time. Like I'm not like, look at these frozen waffles from last month. I don't do that. What I do is I might do a make ahead thing where it's like, I try to keep things that I've made in the freezer for no more than for like a week or 10 days. And then I take it out and, you know, heat it up, whatever. I don't want to like stock up on things and then I run out of time to eat the things because I feel like that's a really easy way to frustrate yourself and to waste food. And in this kind of grocery environment, every little bit helps. Okay, every little bit helps. So yeah, that's kind of like, and I will be posting the grape drink that I talked about. I'll be posting that a little bit later. Also today, I did my 1 potato method. Let's see here. I think I showed you guys last week what the kind of potatoes I made. I used my sumac because I got a lot of sumac, so I will definitely, you know, keep doing my weekly sumac potatoes. I want to get used to, oh wait, that is not sumac. That looks like it is turkey. I'm trying to see, where's my, okay, hang on. Okay, I think this is it. Yes. Okay, so these are my sumac potatoes right there. And basically what I do is I take a potato, or like a russet potato, and I take that russet potato, I slice it thinly. You saw how thinly those were sliced. I slice it thinly, and then I rub a little bit of extra virgin olive oil on there. I set my oven to 350, and I cook it like that. Oh, whoa. Is it okay? I don't mind that. So I cook it I started off at 350. I do that for about 45 minutes to an hour. And then after I do that, I turn it down to like 275, 300, 275, something like that, because sometimes my oven can get it gets a little overzealous at times, and so I didn't want to burn them up because I did cut them so thinly. So let's see here. Go ahead and take these out. Okay. So yeah, you know what? I'm kind of low-key glad that I did go ahead and add that 2/3 extra batter in here. Okay. So this looks like, oof. Okay. That is Big Bertha, she is here. She's like, I am here, Aunt Lainey. Okay, so this little reservoir here, I'm gonna go ahead and take this off. I'll just put this up here. Okay, because I don't want to have it burn. Okay, get this out of here, put that up here. Okay, so I just want to go ahead and spray just a little bit more. These are thicker. Okay. So, I hope wherever you are tonight, you are doing well. So sorry about being a little late. I wish everything was just taking longer than I thought it was going to take. Hello, Miss Linda. It was just taking longer than I thought it was going to take. So, again, it happens. Okay, so we're doing 4 more over here. Something else I like to do with these short stacks while I'll serve them with is, I've got some sausage that I have. I've got some frozen sausage links. I'll do that. And then I also made a frittata. I haven't pictured it yet. And I actually made it in a cast iron skillet. Sometimes, depending on time and just what I feel like doing, sometimes I'll put them in a non-stick. But I really prefer to do the cast iron skillet because I feel like, because I use it as a meal prep, I think it just warms up better. There's more of a crunch. Sometimes when I use that non-stick pan, I feel like it just gets kind of, gets rubbery. So a lot of times when I use the non-stick pan for a frittata, I end up chopping it up and putting it in some kind of like breakfast burrito. Yes, it is Big Bertha. I got her on Amazon, and you know, I always get like the $40, $50 model, so there's not like a temperature control on this thing. So I just kind of have to, you know, go off the vibes. I don't know if you saw last year when Big Bertha, I was doing like I think it was like a Sunday morning or something, and Big Bertha was tired. She was like, "Girl, what are you doing?" Hello, Miss Sarah. So yeah, I love it. I think this is great if you are feeding families, or a couple people, or yourself, or whatever it is. I like it because it cooks up pretty quickly. Now it does get hot, so you got to be careful for that. It does get kind of hot. So just pay attention. Do not leave it unattended. And let's see here. Okay, not quite done, but it cooks up really quickly. So just to kind of show you, this is the little stack I have so far. I'll probably end up with maybe like one more. Okay, so it's going to be about, I thought we'd have about 8. I'll probably maybe have 9 or 10. So we'll get that all done. Ooh, and it cooks up. Look how fast that is. That is so fast. Okay, so we're doing the second thing. So also what I'm going to do is I'm going to let these cool. They're nice and fluffy too. I'm going to let these cool so that they don't get all, and I'm going to kind of have them out so they don't get all like rubbery and stuff. Sometimes what I used to do is I would put them in the glass container. I wouldn't cover them yet, but I put them in the glass container. Then they would get all like rubbery and stuff. So now I'm like, let's just set them out on a plate for like 15 minutes. Let them cool off. Let them do their thing. Okay, so now, wow, I guess we just have one more. Okay, Big Bertha, maybe 2. Hang on, let's see. I think we can do 2 with this. There we go. Okay, let's try to do 2. And these are going to be very, very thin. So I'm kind of making a rookie mistake because I do have one of those spatulas someplace. I think it's over on the other side. So this is very, very thin. Let me see if I can try to put this up here. Let's see if I can use this as a kind of like scrape it out using this a little bit more. Here, come on. Come on, Big Bertha. Get you spread out right there. Okay. Again, this is going to be really thin because those are the only 2 things left. Now, I do have these right here. I wonder if I squeeze these together, I wonder what this would look like. Now, okay, now I want to experiment with something. We'll see. We're gonna find out together what this is going to look like. Okay. But I'll let these cook separately before I use kind of like the cooked scraps because I'm like, what can I make with that? I've got like my grandma, auntie thinking cap on, and I'm not a grandma, but I say that because there's a certain kind of like grandma wisdom, elder wisdom when it comes to like not wasting any food and all the creative desserts that we were all, if you're of a certain age, subjected to. I did not know that oranges could have so many different uses, okay? But my paternal grandmother, nothing went to waste in her house because, you know, she was like a farm lady, so nothing went to waste. I've had every kind of crumble, every crisp, every kind of cobbler, any kind of fruit you can think of. My grandma knew how to make a cobbler for it, okay? Oof. And it's really funny because back then I was like, oh my gosh, this is like, can I just get some Little Debbie's or something like that? Can I just get some snack cakes? But now, oh my gosh, I would totally trade everything just to have one of those cobblers again. Okay, we're just gonna go ahead and turn that over because I think that's hotter on the bottom. Okay, we got one more. Kind of let that cook a little bit. Then we're gonna look and see what we can do with these scraps over here. Okay, yeah, this is like, y'all, I just got, this is, I almost put short stack in the description, but that's like a bigger than a short stack. So I'm letting them kind of cool. And then 4 of them I'm going to use this week. And then I'll freeze the rest of them. And so if you're just joining me, what I did is I used a mix. And okay, here we go. This is more than done. Now this is like the little baby one right here. But you know what? I'm looking at this little baby one, and I would say if I had like a little baby one like that, I would just throw on a little dollop of whipped cream, or even like if you're into butter, like a little butter, maybe some blueberries, something like that. Put it on top, and there you go. Or I don't know. Who knows? Maybe what I could do is because I've done that before, where I have the waffle. I put maybe like a little base of cranberry, and then I've got like the, I top it with some whipped cream or something like that. And then I might put like a little bit of like whipped cream, cranberry on top of that. So, okay, these are the things that are in like the reservoir of Big Bertha. I wonder if I just kind of try to smash them up, put them in here. I'm not touching it with my hands because this is hot, y'all. See if I can get this to go down. So we'll see what this looks like. This looks kind of thick though. I wonder, yeah, we'll just see what it looks like. Because what I usually do is throw those away, but I'm like, Like if you make a lot, I feel like you're wasting some food. So we're just gonna go ahead and see what our scraps look like, okay? So yeah, let me just, hang on. Okay, that is pretty hot there, but let's put this here. So this is the size right here of that little baby waffle. Okay, so now that you can kind of see, so now you're kind of seeing my vision. We're gonna put like a little cranberry sauce right there. We're gonna top it with some whipped cream, and maybe like sprinkle some cranberry sauce within the whipped cream. So now you can kind of have like that in your mind. Okay, let's see what we got. Okay, it's coming along. It looks a little Frankensteinish. I'm gonna go ahead and unplug this. Okay. But it does look kind of Frankensteinish. But one of the good things about just making waffles tonight is that my cleanup is going to be very, very easy. I did a lot of cooking last night because I realized, so I am on the hospitality committee for my orchid group. I'm one of the members. And so, you know, it was like my first time kind of bringing something as a hospitality member. So, you know, luckily the lady that runs it, she's on it. She just says, here are your choices. I'm like, yay. So I did some crackers and I did some cheese. And so the cheese went away. Like I got 30 slices of cheese because it's at a weird time of the day on Sunday. Like, you know, it's like a snack time. And so, you know, it's like at 1:30. So it's like, okay, usually on Sunday, you've already eaten like 2 or 3 meals at that time. Okay. You've been munching the whole time. And so I'm like, okay, I want to have food, but I don't want to do so much because I'm coming back, you know, like 45 minutes away. So I was like, what do I do? So I'm like, you know what? Instead of overbuying, because I am the person that does overbuy, I'm just going to see, like, let me just get an idea. So I got one of those 30 slice things that you can get at Aldi's, like the little sliced cheese. And I got like 2 boxes of crackers. Okay. So 1 box of crackers, like, was almost completely gone. Okay. The second box wasn't as popular. And then the cheese was gone in 20 minutes. So I think for this next time, what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to do 2 things of the cheese and see what happens. But again, you never really know. And our next meeting is right around the time of Valentine's Day. So we'll kind of see. Part of me is kind of like, let's do the 30 slices of cheese and then maybe get like a smaller one, maybe get, you know, like something like that, and then see what happens there. Because I could also get what I could also do is get some cubed cheese. Okay, so I could do the sliced cheese and then get some cubed cheese on another plate, and I think that would definitely go pretty quickly. What time do you usually go live? Usually I go live at 6:30 p.m. Central Time on Tuesday, but today I was just running kind of late. I was kind of moving because I was going to do a bigger presentation tonight, but then I realized I'm too tired to do that because of, you know, my new schedule and everything. So I was like, okay, what can I do? I'm just trying to make it right now. And so, yep, I was here at 7. What is up, cousin? I hope you're doing well. Okay, so we have got this, and this is, okay, so you know what? This actually did work. Now, it does look a little Frankensteinish because I took all of the extras from the reservoir here, and I just put them together onto a grill. So it is kind of, it does have a Frankensteinish thing, but look, that texture is so thick. I think what I could do is soften it a little bit by putting some kind of the cranberry on there with the what do you call it, with the whipped cream. And you know what, I probably, because I keep talking about this, I'm probably gonna have to tomorrow do a picture of that. That might be like a nice little, I might do like a little breakfast spread tomorrow. Okay, taking that off. Big Bertha is cooling down. I am not sure, okay. Also, I went to restaurant week, but I have a podcast called Aunt Lainey's Kitchen. So I'm going to talk more about that on my podcast, my Aunt Lainey's Kitchen podcast. But I did have fun. I just went to one restaurant this year. And so, cause it was like a time thing, but also like a budget thing as well. So I was like, you know what, I gotta pick a restaurant to go to. So I picked that restaurant, and I need to come cook for you. Cousin, you are a really good cook, okay? I would be nervous cooking for you because I feel like you would be like, okay, girl, that was good, but you know you probably should add a little bit more lemon pepper there. Okay, girl, I feel like it'd be like a teaching, like I feel like I would be cooking for you, and you'd be teaching me at the same time, which is always good, but I feel like that might stress you out. It probably wouldn't be stress-free for you because you would be looking at me like, girl, you know this chicken's a little crispier than it needs to be. So yeah. Anyways, but that would be fun to come cook with you, instead of for you, but to cook with you. That would be a lot of fun. So yeah, I'm going to talk about more of that stuff on my podcast. The sumac is going really, I love the sumac. Oh my gosh, you guys, I love it so much. So I'm looking at my next thing that I want to get. And I also have to go through the spices that I do have. I have so many spice racks. It's so sad. I'm going to have to go through and get rid of some of these spices that have been with me for a little too long. Because, you know, spices don't last forever, although certain demographics in this world do think that they last forever, but they don't. Like as far as the freshness and stuff like that. Now, what I do with some of my older spices is I will create like some kind of like simmer pot with them, because I don't want to completely like, you know, get rid of them. So I'll do some kind of simmer pot, and I'll just put that on the stove and just kind of like let, you know, the fragrances kind of like come through. So sometimes I do stuff like that, like on a Sunday morning or whatever while I'm cleaning. I've got that running. I don't know, it just kind of gives like a nice kind of, you know, it's still got the fragrance for that, but maybe not for the food. Okay, you guys, you can find me, Aunt Lainey's Kitchen, blog at auntlaneyskitchen.com. I got the podcast, Aunt Lainey's Kitchen. I'm also on YouTube. I am on, I guess, YouTube and TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. Yeah, so I'm going to be doing my latest podcast probably in the next few days or so. You crazy. The next few days or so, because I want to take a little bit of a break and do the restaurant before I kind of went in and did my latest episode. And my episodes are probably about, they used to be longer, but now with attention spans being shorter, including mine, I'm trying to keep them, you know, between 20 and like 35 minutes, because I feel like, you know, that's for me, that's a run to the store. Like, okay, I got my podcast going and I go into the store and do my thing and I come back and the podcast is waiting for me. And so I keep things really light on my podcast. It's like somebody said to me, my podcasts are like sitting and across from me, and I'm just like, and then, and oh my gosh, you will never believe. So it's kind of like that burst of energy, Aunt Lainey energy. And then it's over and you're like, okay, now I can just kind of, you know, breathe a little bit. I had my Aunt Lainey's fix of that burst, that pop of energy, and there you go. Okay, take care, everyone. Stay safe, and I will talk to you soon.